Is there an update on Cam McCarthy's health?
Probably no further update to what we released a while ago. He obviously was doing a non-contact training session, drill today. He was at the back of the line and collapsed. Our medical staff was on the scene really quickly and dealt with it really professionally. He walked to the ambulance, got taken to hospital, and he's still there now recovering.
Were you out here when it happened?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I saw it unfold. Obviously, the medical team handled it really professionally and well, and Cam's in hospital now recovering. So that's pretty much all I've got to say.
Have you spoken to him, Dale?
No, not since. No, I spoke to him this morning, and he seemed in good spirits. And as we know, these things there can be a lot of things that lead to this. So he's in hospital now. He'll get checked over, and we'll hear more shortly.
Is it pretty scary seeing something like that?
Yeah, it's obviously not a good thing, seeing someone collapse and the players being around that as well. But like I said, our medical team was on the scene really quickly and responded really professionally, and he's been well looked after now.
So he walked himself to the ambulance, is that right?
Yes, he was with our doctor and physio. They walked to the ambulance. Yeah.
So is there a requirement, J-Lo, is there to go in the ambulance? Is that what it is? If he's walking, they thought they may as well take him in the ambulance?
Yeah, well, I'm not a doctor, clearly. It was our doctor's recommendation that he goes to hospital and get checked out. We got the ambulance on the scene, and he walked there, got in there, and he's at the hospital now.
How long is it to you think you'll get an update on his condition, and will he still travel next week with the team, or is that unclear?
Well, at the moment, clearly our mind is on Cam's health and well-being. We'll work out what it means for the hub and what that looks like going forward after we get the medical recommendations. So as I said, he's at hospital now. We hope to get those recommendations and results, I suppose, maybe in the next day or two. I'm not sure of the time frame, but we'll work out the rest from there.
It's a big year for him, isn't it, firstly, because he's coming out of contract, so this is the one he needs to make every post of, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, clearly, and he's in the same boat as a lot of players in the AFL, and players on our list. And let's wait till we work out what caused the collapse, and we'll work out the rest from there. But just not rush off and make too many decisions on his future and all that sort of thing. Let's just make sure he's right now, and all that'll take care of itself.
Justin, is Jesse Hogan a chance to play against Brisbane?
He's a chance. We haven't ruled him in, we haven't ruled him out. There's still a number of boxes for Jesse to tick. He's only done 20 minutes of match sim in the last year, so we've got to make sure he can back up sessions, make sure that we're confident that he can run out a full game. But every indication is that he's on the right track, both mentally, physically. His connection within the group's been really strong, and we're really pleased with his progress so far. So not ruling it in or out just yet. Yeah, clearly there's round two, but clearly there's a lot of games after that, and we've got to make sure that Jesse's resilient enough to handle 16 games of footy or 15 games of footy or whatever that looks like. We don't want him in for one game getting sore or injured or not being able to handle it. So we've got to make sure he's resilient for the rest of this year and years going forward.
Just one more, sorry, on McCarthy. Did he have any pre-existing conditions or anything that could contribute to this? Can you rule that out?
My understanding is that this is the first time something like this has happened to Cam. Yep.
And just on Jesse, has he had enough time to understand the game plan? Is that going to be the biggest challenge, or is everybody in the same boat because you basically haven't had him for long at all?
I'm really confident in Jesse's footy IQ that he'll be able to pick up our game plan really quickly and adapt to his role. One thing I've been really impressed with Jesse since I've come to the club is his ability to understand football. There's no doubt that his footy IQ is up there with the best we've got. So I've got no doubts that Jesse will be able to understand his role.
How's Matt Chapman on tracking?
Yeah, good. Yeah, he's responded really well to treatment with that lower back. I was talking to him before, and he told me he was going to full train. So likelihood he'll join in some training on Friday. He's always an optimistic guy, but the thing is, he's feeling really good. I expect him to do some training Friday, back it up Monday, and train well next week. So I don't see there being any doubt for round 2.
That's how Hugh Dixon is. We saw the end of his session today and it looked like he was put through the ringer again. He may have even lived off the track.
Yeah, he got a bit of a stinger in his right knee towards the end of his session. I just walked through the gym there. He's doing leg weights, on and squatting and that sort of thing. So it can't be too bad. So he's put in a really solid fortnight of training now. And hopefully there's not too much with that knee.
Nathan Wilson, it looks like at times he's back with the main group and then at times back on doing his own running program.
Yeah, well, that's a planned progression into him being able to join in full training and a full program. He hasn't done a lot over the pre-season. The 8-week break came at a really good time for him. He was able to get a really strong fitness base in. Now it's just a matter of him being resilient with his footy training and getting enough load in on the track. He's tracking really well. He's going to be a handy addition to our side.
Can the boys take the golf clubs and the surfboards over? Have you been told yet?
At this stage we'll be taking some surfboards and golf clubs, and we've said to our players to bring some things that make it personable for them, but also things that allow them to occupy their spare time. We're going over there to perform, but we need to make sure that we're not focused on footy 24/7. The players have got to have some downtime in their program, so we've built that into the program. Some love golf, some hate golf, some love surfing, some like playing PlayStation apparently. We've asked them to bring some of those things to occupy their spare time.
And the AFL signed off on it. Will they allow you to play golf yet?
We're probably still receiving that sign off from the AFL, but it's looking reasonably positive at the moment.
You've been approved extra staff yet?
Yeah, so the AFL's approved us to take 30 staff, which is aligned to AFL match day staffing. So we're allowed to take 30, which we think is a good number for us to be able to put in a really good structure around our players while we're away.
So what sort of those extra staff, who do you take in terms of what type of staff?
Yeah, well, they're spread across the whole football department. So some will be admin roles, some will be extra resources in our sports science area, and some will be extra coaches. So I think we've pretty much got the full quota of coaches that we're travelling with at the moment. So that's great to be able to resource a developing list.
What's the latest on Sam Sturt? Is he back to full training?
Yeah, he was able to join in today into his group of 7. He moved really well. Clearly he hasn't done any contact work yet, and he hasn't been pushed on ground ball and that type of thing with his back injury. So we'll hope to get him in the early part of Friday training session, see how he pulls up over the weekend and ramp things up next week.
Is it making it difficult for round 2 for him now?
Oh, well, it's making it more difficult. I'm not prepared to rule him out by any stretch yet. But he's going to have to do everything right to be there.
Luke Valente, a chance? Nat White had some pretty strong stuff to say about him today. How have you seen his pre-season?
Well, I don't know. I don't really want to comment on whether he's a chance to play or not, but one thing I will say about Luke is he's used the 8-week shutdown period to get himself better as a footballer. He's come back in unbelievable condition, as with a lot of players have used that time to their benefit over the shutdown period. He's clearly increased his fitness base, his resilience, and he's flying at training. So we've got a lot of competition for midfield spots. We've got a lot of competition for roles all over the ground. So it's a good spot to be in.
Any early contenders putting their hand up to get the job on Lockie Neal?
No one's come to my office and asked me for that role just yet. I'm really confident our midfield will be able to nullify and expose Brisbane's midfield, and really confident with the mix we've got in there. So I'm excited to see what we can do in round 2.
Justin, in terms of the duration of the half, there's obviously a possibility it could go longer than 4 or 5 weeks. Can you see it potentially getting to a point where the club has to make a formal sort of stance to the AFL that in terms of how long guys are willing to actually stay there?
To be honest, I don't think it'll get to that stage. I think the AFL is well and truly aware of what the sacrifices the clubs that are going to the hub are making, and I'm pretty sure the AFL will be willing to work with us at a certain stage.
These are talk of a model where you'd have a couple of interstate clubs come over, be allowed to play and train, and then go back out and then rotate out with another 2. Like, is that sort of a model that you think could work?
Yeah. Well, clearly the best case scenario is that the borders are relaxed here, and we can get back to some normal travel, fly in, fly out. But the AFL have said that they're willing to explore, Melbourne teams coming here in a hub situation. So, the AFL has been really supportive. They understand what we're sacrificing to go over there. They've put a lot of things in place to make it as easy as they can for us. So, they understand that after a while, we will need to come home to family and friends and home. So, they've been good in that sense.
What sort of challenges the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba, you think?
It's a great challenge for us, Barra. They had a great home record last year. They're clearly a top 4 team that everyone thinks are on the way up. So, for us to get that challenge first up is going to be a great way to see where we're at. Clearly got a strong midfield. Clearly got a really strong forward line. And clearly play that ground really well. So it's going to be a great challenge, one that we're really excited about.
And the Gabba, will you get a chance to have a run on there before you actually play?
That's our aim. Yeah, how we do that and when we do that is going to be a little bit tricky, and we're working through some situations now. Didn't notice whether you knew, but the ground looks a little bit wider here and a little bit shorter than what it usually does. So we've been preparing for the Gabba for a while.
Justin, the AFL said that you can have scratch matches for players not in the match day squads. When do you start preparing those players, and which clubs will they be against, or is that something you've got to plan?
Well, ideally we'd like it to align to our fixture, like both teams and days. So we've been putting in a fair bit of work in the background to organise some hit-outs against those teams. It's clearly important that the players get match practice into them, but also actually give them something to look forward to at the end of each week. I mean, there's only so long that you can ask players to train and not play for, so it's great that we can get some match practice and some experience into our younger players who are going to miss out.
In terms of but players, Cam aside, is it every player except Joel Hamling and Alex Pearce will be flying at this stage?
No, at this stage every player will be coming with us, including our rehab group. I think it's really important that they come and get to experience and connect with the group. We'll ask them to play some different roles within the hub, but we want to surround them with the best medical people we've got, and at this stage we'll be taking all our physios and doctors, so it's important that they get the proper medical treatment that they need, and we surround them with the rest of the group, so everyone will be coming at this stage.